What's up, Lego builders? I've been slowly building up a wish list of Lego sets I desperately want to buy, but have no good reason to. I was racking my brain on how I could justify getting these sets when I realized, why not just turn them into custom sci-fi vehicles? I can never have enough tanks, trucks, and soldiers, so today I'm turning random Lego sets into a brand new sci-fi army. If you're excited, don't forget to open fire on that like button, and let's get building. No army can survive without its infantry, and while I've built a pretty extensive one in the past, they belong to the HAEF. Today, I'm building a new force with new units. These particular soldiers are called shock troopers. Part of an advanced force, they are the first ones into a combat zone bearing extra armor and better helmets with built-in comms and low-vis capable optics. Some have even decorated their helmets with kill markers and other hieroglyphics. This is a vehicle operator who doesn't need as much armor, but does have a small breathing apparatus in case of emergencies. This new military force is called the HAEF, or Human Alliance Expansion Force, and are a separate branch of the pre-existing HADF. They're tasked with exploring and pacifying new lands for future expansion, and as such, these soldiers are bigger, stronger, and equipped with fully sealed advanced battle suits that can handle extreme climates and hazardous air. Little is known about the HAEF since they've been mostly kept a secret from humanity, but its members have been busy scouting the wastelands, documenting the changes taking place, as well as keeping any remnant bio-nightmare hordes from rebuilding and other enemies at bay. This isn't just a slash and grab group of soldiers though. A contingent of scientists, also encased in protective suits, explore and document the now unfamiliar lands outside of the human cities. Armed with cameras, maps, and canisters used for securing samples to be studied in labs, they've unlocked advancements in tech and medicine through their studies, and help keep the HAEF forces grounded and cognizant of their core mission, to not just expand, but to protect and understand as well. This is a great start to the HAEF forces, but given the dangerous and unforgiving places they explore, it's time to build some heavy-duty vehicles that can live up to the daunting tasks. First things first, I need a Jeep / all-purpose armored truck, and this Lego City Jungle Explorer was the perfect candidate. It can easily be transformed into some kind of lightly armored utility vehicle that we always see in any kind of military or expedition group. The large wheels and raised bed make this ideal for traversing barren hills, dense jungles, and even rivers and swamps. Now, my goal here isn't to do some kind of alt build using only pieces from the set, but instead make something somewhat based off the original design, using as many of the pieces as I can, but most will need to be swapped out in order to get the correct colors, since bright orange and dark blue are about as effective at camouflaging as a stormtrooper is in a gunfight. The colors of the HAEF are primarily dark bluish gray with dark green and black highlights, so I didn't need to change much for the chassis of the truck. The exterior is where I changed up things the most. I'm trying to work dark green in to create a simple camo pattern. I also swapped out the windshield for a dark one and made sure to include the truck snorkel on the front, which will protect the engine from sucking in water while crossing rivers and lakes. Can't have my trucks taking a big gulp of delicious swamp water in the middle of a mission. This set includes a camera piece that'll be the perfect base for a remotely operated machine gun. I built out the sides with cheese slopes, then added sloped ammo boxes that can dual feed into the gun housing, allowing the operator to fire double the amount of rounds before the gun needs to be reloaded. The last thing to add is the roof. I had just enough pieces in the right colors to do a perfect color swap, keeping the design basically the same. It's got more lights and a carrying bar so troops can secure extra gear to the roof. That combined with the massive wheels is going to make this the perfect off-roading machine. This set also comes with a small jungle build, which I decided to throw together real quick in order to have a nice displaying backdrop. An army is only as good as its logistics chain, and as such, the HAEF has created a supply chain that can rescue and reinforce in even the most remote and hard to get to places. In large part thanks to its fleet of light combat utility vehicles nicknamed the Wolverine. This all-terrain combat armored truck has a bed for storing supplies as well as 2 airtight chests on either side of the chassis, allowing it to fully provision a combat strike team or a group of scientists on a research mission. This truck has been so effective, the HADF has expressed interest in purchasing some to work alongside their more armored combat truck, the Armadillo. I was originally just going to build 2 Wolverine trucks, but thought, where's the fun in that? Plus, I've been repeatedly trying to work some type of tank into this army, but was struggling to find any Lego sets that I could turn into one. Then, one day, I was struck with that ever-elusive lightning bolt of inspiration. Why not turn the second Jungle Explorer truck into a wheeled amphibious light tank? I've long been a fan of the US LAV-25, which I know, now all the keyboard warriors are going to come after me in the comments for the egregious error of calling that a tank, but I don't care. This is the perfect solution. Due to the small size of the original truck, this is only going to have 6 wheels, but I think I can still make a decent armored vehicle, tank, whatever you want to call it. Oh wait, it's my design and video. I get to call it whatever I want. Since this is an amphibious build, I want to make the front look somewhat boat-like. Not gonna lie, most tanks and vehicles of this design do look pretty goofy up front, but they're trying to win conflicts, not beauty pageants. I experimented with a few different designs until I was happy with the shape I got and attached the build to the front of my tank. I need a good amphibious related name for this bad boy, so drop any suggestions you have in the comments. In the spirit of somewhat trying to stick to the original design, I built a frame using plate and the same mudguards from the truck, just in a different color. I then attached armored panels, once again using a simple digital camo pattern, and capped off the sides with curved slope. This created kind of a weird look with the mudguards directly underneath the slopes, but that's the best design I've come up with so far. Once the frame was attached to the chassis, I was able to finish building the front. I need this to be able to traverse some pretty deep waters, so I added 2 propellers at the back, with a hatch for entering the tank in the middle. Easy part aside, now it's time to build the turret. Personally, turrets are the hardest part of designing a tank. It's always some difficult to build oval or other rounded shape, not to mention the gun barrel that needs to poke out and be able to raise up and down. But, as I was pondering, this piece popped into my mind because of its angled shape and that molded protruding panel on the front that looks like a plate of armor. I felt like it would help shape the front of the turret nicely and add some extra armor and detailing. I added some slopes to further shape it and stuck one on each side of the turret base, and I must say, I cooked a little with this build. The back is much easier since there's no gun barrel, just some antenna, and after adding a few slopes to the sides, I was able to connect the front and back and finish the structure. I noticed a lot of tanks like this had baskets on the back, so I decided to add one to mine for carrying extra gear or any trophies too big to fit inside the vehicle. Without giving too much away, the HAEF have found themselves under attack in some rather swampy situations and needed something more substantial than a truck. These amphibious light tanks have been very effective in securing unstable frontline positions and providing fire support against larger obstacles. Able to carry a fire team of HAEF shock troopers into battle, they essentially have built-in infantry support protecting their weak points, making them hard to ambush. I will say it's a good start, but I'm not completely satisfied with the design and would like to raise it up a couple plates, making the tank taller. Oh boy. Am I excited for this next set. I have been wanting this bulldozer ever since it was first released last year. It looked so big and well designed, I was honestly surprised it was a Lego set and not a mock. I had to pass on it for a while because unless I'm buying one for a video, I don't really get Lego sets anymore. They're typically overpriced and that's money I could be spending on mocks. Nevertheless, that set stuck around in my head like poop on a Gungan's foot, teasing me. Then, last month, I went and saw the latest Avatar movie, Fire and Ash. After that, went home and rewatched part of Avatar 2. In particular, that epic opening scene where the spaceships touch down on Pandora, torching the ground, then depositing massive bulldozers to clear the debris, preparing Pandora for recolonization. Then it hit me like a massive space whale. The HAEF I was creating could totally use a large bulldozer to clear undeveloped areas for bases and help build smaller structures. This was all the excuse I needed to speed on over to lego.com and buy that long coveted bulldozer. Initially, I thought this was going to be a fairly easy set to convert because it was so well designed and all I really needed to do was a color swap and add a couple extra functions. But after starting, I realized there were quite a few important pieces that I didn't have in dark green. And of course, the one time Lego does a printed part instead of a sticker, it's on a piece like this that I obviously can't use on the dozer, but I can always save it for future builds. One of my favorite aspects of this set is how beefy it looks on the box. This vehicle looks like it could plow through a jungle and has a well-armored front protecting the engine, which will come in handy where this thing's going, because let's just say stray acorns and fruit won't be the only thing hitting it. The last thing to build is the cab, and to my delight, there are 2 walkways on either side of it. This made me happy because I was going to build the same thing, but also add mounted machine guns and a guard, so this made my job much easier. I saw too many construction vehicles getting cooked by the Na'vi and Avatar, and I can assure you, the HAEF isn't going to be as sloppy as the RDA were. That does it for the dozer. All that's left is the massive blade on the front. This thing is a true behemoth. Towering over a minifig, it can rip up massive stumps and level huge hills of dirt and debris. It's got a fancy Technic frame with some pistons to help it stay up in place when you raise it. The whole contraption attaches to the front of the vehicle and is also secured on the sides. Huge props to Lego on this one. They knocked it out of the park. Let me know in the comments if you have this set and if you're as hyped on it as I am. I don't really think this needs a new name because what could be better than Bulldozer? Maybe Titan Dozer, because this towers over every build I've made today and even a couple of the other tanks in my collection. Not only does it have engine pistons that move up and down when it drives, but the blade can be raised and lowered as well as the plow in the back. I wanted this vehicle to be more versatile, so I added a crane attachment that can help build barracks and other small base structures. No matter where this thing's working, it's got protection in the form of mounted machine guns, and if worse comes to worse, it can plow over just about anything in its path. This marks the beginning of an exciting new chapter in my custom world. Humans are expanding, and that means coming into contact with new species and factions. I'm super pleased with what I built today, and paired with my LRAC dropships and Wyron gunships, I have the beginnings of a solid army. And if you think all this is cool, just wait until you see the HAEF's flagship vehicle. While they won't be present in the battle for my LEGO City of Moenia Prime, you can be sure the HAEF will be featured in campaigns of their own very soon. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to let me know what you think of these builds and minifigs in the comments, and until next time, happy building.